In this episode, I'm going to cover how to extend the appearance. So I've chosen the Combos TriggerFieldAppearance, and what I want to do is provide my own GSS. So what does that mean? Well, I've already loaded up my app with a simple combo box, and this simple combo box is created with a trigger field and a list view. So there's actually two appearances. I'm only going to cover how to extend the trigger field appearance and provide my own GSS for this. So to get started, I'm going to click on select an element, and I'm going to focus on the combo and show you what it looks like in the element inspector. So if I go up to the top of the widget or the root of the widget, so what I'm after is the wrap class, which is in the CSS3 trigger field style. And I can see the package name of where this CSS resource resides in my application. So the next step, I'm going to go to the IDE and show you the source code that I've configured for this application. This is a simple constructed entry point with one combo, and it is wrapped with a vertical layout container. And that vertical layout container is then added to the viewport. So if I scroll down, I have a store with 4 items. That store has a simple label provider that says get name, and the combo box cell is constructed with the store and label provider. That cell is then provided to the combo box. The reason why I instantiated this cell separately in this case is I want to provide the appearance. So I'm going to go trigger field appearance. I could do a command 1 on the Mac to auto suggest creating the local variable, but in this case, this constructor has many overloaded arguments. Since there's so many arguments I could provide for this constructor, what I want to do is command click and look for the type that I want to add, and it's going to be the trigger field appearance. But I'm going to go to this, and I can see the trigger field appearance is given in this constructor, so it's overloaded. And I could also give the view, but in this case, I just want to give the trigger field. So I'm going to use that constructor. So what I'm going to do is paste in trigger field appearance and go appearance equals new trigger field appearance. And this is not going to be, this is an interface to start with, so it won't complete, but I'm just going to type it in just to complete this line for now. Okay, so I'm going to change appearance and appearance. So now that I have the type defined and the instantiation started, I need to construct my appearance. So how would I do that? My favorite method is doing a Shift Command T and looking for the CSS3 type for trigger field appearance. And there's a Neptune and Triton. So I'm going to go after Triton in this video. What I want to do with this is copy the CSS3 trigger field appearance, and here's why. I'll show you how I like to construct my extended appearance. So I'm going to go up to the top of the class, and I'm going to start by constructing an inner class by going public, and then I'll paste in the class, and I like to append GXT for extended, extends, and then I'll paste it in, and then add the brackets to complete the class body. And I forgot to type in class, and this creates an inner class. But I'm not going to keep it as an inner class, so I'm going to go Command X for cut, and I'm going to paste it into my package. This just makes it easy to construct the body of the class. Once I've imported the class, I'll hit Command Shift O for auto import, and what I want to select is GXT theme Triton client base CSS3 appearance. Then I'm going to go Command Shift F for auto formatting. Then I'm going to save the file. Okay, so now that I've constructed the class, my custom appearance, I want to go back and instantiate my appearance. So I'm going to go Command Shift O for auto import, and it imports my appearance. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to command click on it to verify that it goes to the correct location. And it is. It's in the package next to where I created the appearance. So I'm ready to go. I could test this now just to make sure I have it wired up properly. So I'm going to go back to Chrome and reload it. If all goes well, I'll have no errors. And okay, so I'm going to go back. The next step is I'm going to command click to the appearance, And what I want to do is show the next steps of how I extend the appearance. So I'm going to go up into the parent appearance. And what I want to do next is copy the constructor. So I'm going to copy the constructor. And why am I doing this? Is I want to instantiate this class with new resources that I provide, such as the GSS, and I could provide the custom triggers as well. So to get started, I'm going to copy the constructor and copy it into my appearance. So I'm going to go to my appearance, and what I got to do is change the constructor name by copying the type for the class. And now I'm going to call super instead of this because it's in the parent or super class. So I'm all set to go. Let me see if I've got it wired up right. And I auto formatted with Shift Command O to get rid of the unneeded imports this time. So I'm going to go back to Chrome and reload. This is a great way to walk through the process and check that you have the correct wiring. So if you follow this simple format, you should have a higher success rate in constructing the appearance the first time. Now the next step is to override the resources. And how do I do that? I go up to the superclass, and the very first one is I'm going to copy the interface for the styles. And if you look, this CSS3 trigger field style is CSS3 trigger field style. And I'll show why I override this in a moment. So I'm going to go back to the subclass, and then I'm going to paste in and build the body for the override. So I'm going to copy the type name and put it as the parent now, or the superclass, and then I'm going to extend the subclass. Okay, so that's the first step. The next step is, after I save it, I'm going to go up to the superclass again, and now I want to copy the resources. So I'm going to copy this class construction, and what I do is I like to paste it just below the field style, and then I got to finish the body here for this interface. And what I want to do is copy this, and then I'm going to replace the superclass and then rename the subclass or sub interface here. And here we go. I've extended this. And now there's one more step. I'm going to go back up to the parent or superclass and copy this here, because I want to append my own custom GSS. So I'm going to copy this, and now I'm going to paste it into my interface. So I'm going to paste it here. If I want to override the trigger field, I would copy these as well and paste them in, but that means I have to provide those images. At this time, I'm not going to go into those details. I want to show how to override the styles, override the GSS first. Okay, I'm going to go Shift Command O to get rid of the unneeded imports. And now that I'm ready, I've got to fix these errors. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to hit Enter to format to start with. Now I'm going to show how I create the path for these GSS files. So I'm going to go into the parent or superclass, and I want to scroll all the way to the top, and I want to copy the package name. And this is critical to remember. You have to copy the package name with the class path that is imported in the GWT module descriptor. So if I'm copying the Triton class path, it also has to be imported in the module descriptor, which is, if you look, that this tells I've imported inherits by saying my Triton theme is on my GWT compiler class path. And this is defined in the GWT module descriptor. Now I could include Neptune as well, and that could be on my class path, and I could extend Neptune. But I'm not going to show that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the parent, and I'm going to copy this package, which is actually going to be my path, and I'll show you how I convert it. I'm going to paste it in, and then I'm going to add slashes. Instead of periods, I'm going to make them slashes, so it adds a path. Since it's not representing a package name for Java, it's representing a resource path for my GSS. So once I've done that, I'm going to copy it, and the way I know it's correct, the IDE will no longer underline it when it's correct. So I fixed the first one, so I'm going to copy that first path and paste it in the second one and third one. Well, here's where the magic that I want to provide is I'm going to hit comma, enter, and I'm going to provide a new combo.gss. And this is going to be my custom GSS. Well, so in this case, I'm going to provide it in my own package. So I'm going to go new file, combo.gss. All right, I've created my combo.gss. So did I name it right? Combo. Oh, I didn't. So you can see it's still underlined. So I'm going to refactor by hitting Command Alt R and then O. It could be different if you're using a different IDE, but the main thing is renaming the file there so it matches. So that was a good example of seeing how the underline when it doesn't have the correct path. Okay, so there's one more thing in here that's critical to remember. So there are two more things I have to do in here to complete the appearance extension. The first step is, well, I've extended the style. And why do I do that? Well, it tells the GWT compiler that this appearance has an extended resources. Otherwise, it won't work. So if you forget this step where you don't extend the style interface, it won't work in this case. And then there's one more step. This is the last step. I have to change the resources that get loaded. So this time I'm going to type in EXT. One of the reasons why I type in EXT at the end is so while creating it, it creates a real easy strategy for renaming the resources. So I'll start off by naming it EXT, and once I get the types connected, then I let the IDE do the hard work and refactoring or renaming the types. Once I'm done with this and proving that it works correctly, then I'll refactor and rename it as such. Maybe it's going to be a prettier name, like this is my dark theme for my trigger field. So now that I've created it, it should work. So let me test that. I'm going to go to Chrome and I'm going to reload. The main thing about reloading here is just making sure I've wired it up properly. If I haven't wired it up properly, the GWT compiler is going to complain in the console. Well, it looks like I've wired it up properly. So now what do? How do I add my custom styles to the Combo GSS? Well, if you're aware that the style sheets cascade, and so in that, I could provide any style. Since I'm calling my custom style last, I could provide custom styles and clobber the default styles that are provided in the parent CSS. So if I cascade down and provide a custom style, I could clobber that. So which one would I want to do? Let me look at the browser again and inspect the element. So I'm going to focus in, and so I'm going to go up to the root element in the widget. And I usually know it's root by looking at the package name and determining, saying, okay, this is a CSS3 trigger field, and I can see it's the wrap class that I'm after in the CSS. So what I want to do is go find that, and in this case there's 3 GSS files. Well, I've already looked in them before, so I went through each one and actually looked for wrap, and I found it in the CSS3 base field class. So how do I get there? I'm going to go up to the superclass and command click, so I navigate there in the package manager on the left, and what I want to do is find the CSS or GSS in the left. So what was the name of that? That class was the name of CSS3 value base field. So if I go back up to that class, CSS3, which I'm going to go down and look for the GSS files, and that's CSS3 value base field. So here it is. So I'm going to double click and open on it. And the first thing you'll notice at def, background color is defined, and this comes from the Java file. So when the theme builder builds, it builds a Java file, and then the GWT compiler does the magic and pulls in the variable when it is compiled. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. Oh, so there's a wrap class. So I'm going to copy the wrap class, and then I'm going to go to my combo.gss and paste in wrap class. I'll finish the body of the wrap class, and what I want to provide is a new border color. So I'll go border 1px solid purple. So this should override because it's cascading, and if it doesn't, I could use important here. Now that's not the ideal method, but hey, if it works, use it. In this case, you're probably not creating an API for an end user, so importance probably not going to matter that much. Okay, so I've defined my own wrap class, so I could go back to the Google Chrome and reload. Whoa, there's my purple. Pretty cool. So that was slick. So it was actually easy to construct and override or extend the CSS3 trigger field appearance, which affects the combo input at the top. So let me just review in short what I just did. I constructed a simple entry point to show off how to construct a combo cell, which is then fed to the combo box. This combo cell has 3 arguments: store, label provider, and a trigger field appearance. If I wanted to override the list view, which is the expanded portion of the combo box, I would actually provide a list view and follow the same procedures as overriding the CSS3 trigger field appearance. So once I created the trigger field, or instantiated the trigger field, then I created my CSS3 trigger field appearance, and basically it's an extension of the Triton. And that Triton is then imported into the class path through the GWT module descriptor, and the jar is added to the class path in the build path configuration of this application. Then if I command click on CSS3 trigger field, I went to the parent or sub superclass, and then I copied down and created the body of the extension. Then I copied the style field and made it the superclass, and then I extended that. This then became the type for the style import. So this clobbers the superclass configuration. So then I copied down the GSS resource files, and then I pathed to them by getting the package name from the superclass. And then I changed the periods to /. Okay, so once I've added that, then I added my own combo.gss. This could be any name, anything you want here, as long as the file matches and the package and everything's in the same package, or you have to path to it in another package. So if I go back to the trigger field, once I've done that, I did copy the constructor of the superclass, and then I said, hey, call super, but then instantiate or create. In this case, I'm calling GWT create. So the GWT compiler then creates these resources on compile, and then works through the GSS and converts it into pretty CSS. Okay, so let me go back and one more time and just reload the page. And I reloaded the page, and you can see the purple here. So if I use the element inspector and focus in on the widget, I can go up to the root. I can see wrap, and here it is. I added purple. And if you look, you can see that now the package name reflects the extended appearance and the wrap name. So I can find this attribute where it's defined within my Java structure. So I can locate this appearance. Well, when it compiles, it will compile into something minified that looks like a hash. Well, that's it on overriding or extending an appearance in GXT. Thanks for watching today. Follow me for more tips and tricks, and I'll catch you later.